Hello, guys, and welcome back to a new episode of Exit or Die, the no bullshit podcast for founders, investors, and all the operators who actually build things. Today, my guest is someone who has built, exited, and reinvested, and is still going. Mattias Protzmann is co-founder, CTO, and chairman of Blockbrain, co-founder of Statista, and a serial entrepreneur with multiple successful exits across media, data, and AI. From founding Statista in 2007 to building data-driven companies long before AI was a buzzword, Mattias has been ahead of the curve more than once. Now, with Blockbrain, he is tackling a problem almost every company has, but few admit: internal knowledge chaos. Mattias, welcome to Exit or Die.
Hi there, and thanks a lot for the intro.
You're welcome. Mattias, I would say we start directly into the topic. You have co-founded Statista, one of the most successful data businesses in Europe. And when we now looking back together today, what did building Statista teach you about the value of structured knowledge?
Well, first of all, I think that structured knowledge, and especially in the case of Statista, is a very, very powerful tool to basically underline what you're saying. So if you have a look at the three fundamentals of a conversation, and that hasn't been coined by me, but by Aristotle, so that is really old. That is, there are three principles, three fundamentals. It's egos, how you carry yourself, basically, who you are. So people, that resonates with people, and people believe you because of that. Then it's pathos. That means emotions you bring to the table to convince people. And then logos. And logos is basically to underline what you're saying with facts. And this is how important it is to have your facts ready if you want to successfully talk to other people and convince them of something, and or to render strategies, etc. And this is why I think it's incredibly powerful to have your data ready, but structured ready.
Yeah. Blockbrain feels like the next logical evolution, but for internal company knowledge. What was the moment you realized we need this inside companies now?
Well, basically everything I've been through in my career, to be honest, with corporations. So there were a lot of moments where I wanted to have knowledge, at the right place at the right time. But specifically in Blockbrain, I have a lot of ideas, and this is basically my job: having ideas and then bringing it to paper, or putting them into my notebook, whatever, and then providing people with the ideas I have, and they will help me to execute them. And when I discovered, and that was back in the days, like 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was GPT-3, when I discovered that I could utilize AI to basically record what I was thinking about on the run, and then this very annoying process of structuring my ideas, of translating my ideas into the real world, would have been just taken over by the AI. And that was the moment where I thought, wow, this is really groundbreaking in terms how you can deal with knowledge. So basically put in something hopefully good, like an idea, which is, which could be really groundbreaking, and then let the AI figure out how to deal with it in terms of, cutting away all the noise, and then having the raw form of what you're really trying to say, what you're really trying to communicate. And that is a huge problem for a lot of companies. And for us, There's another thing really hitting us, and that is the knowledge drain in European countries, basically all industrial countries around the planet, and that is because of socio-demographic. Knowledge is going down the drain, basically, right? With people retiring and stuff like that. So you need something that takes care of all the knowledge before people retire to bring it back into organizations.
Yeah. You already mentioned the buzzword AI. So today, everyone says we are doing AI now. We are working with AI. We have an AI agent. A lot of domains from startups have the ending .ai. But most companies still don't even have clean data structures. So what's the biggest misconceptions companies have about implementing AI?
First of all, I think that AI has to be seen not as a magical super weapon that cures everything, but a really advanced and powerful technology that can help you. And the misconception is that AI, enters a company and then a lot of things will be better after that. They could be, but you have to do your homework before that. You have to deeply understand the processes you want to transform. That is the most important thing. So it cannot be something like, well, this unit is not functioning well. Let's utilize AI. So and things will become better. Things will be cured. That's not going to happen. So first of all, you need to cure your processes in order to build in AI that will basically scale everything. Right? In efficiency, but also if a process is broken, it probably becomes even more broken, That's the problem.
Yeah. And I mean, you position Blockbrain as an AI knowledge assistant for enterprises. What is fundamentally broken in how companies store and access informations today?
The biggest problem is the lack of communication, basically not in units. That is probably working as well as it can, but in terms of the whole company. So we have data silos, a lot of data silos. So unit A doesn't know what unit B does, and probably works on the same things that unit A works probably on the same things that unit B does, and that makes things overcomplicated, and that is very unnecessary. So what we are trying to do is to build this company-wide communication and knowledge layer that enables everybody to know what the company actually could offer.
The problem with the data silos is mostly, I think, in the government section because they have really a big problem here. But you have worked with corporations through multi strategy, advised on deep tech and M&A, and seen AI hype cycles up. So what separates serious AI transformation from innovation theater?
The willingness to really transform and not to just test things out. And by transform, I mean culturally transform into something new. So AI is not. It's the same thing. Going again, which basically happened through digitalization in the 2000s with a lot of companies. So it's not just about implementing a new technology and that's it, but it's about implementing a new paradigm of thinking and working, I would say, just like we had this with digitalization, but the speed is very different. It's much faster. When we implemented digitalization or digital products into companies, and I did that, back in the days, it could sometimes take years. But with AI, it's really different. So the willingness to deeply transform and culturally transform and bring all your people with you and behind you, and not do something and then put it in front of your employees. That is something that is distinctively different than just let's try a little bit of AI. But the thing is, if you just try it out, you won't be able to collect the value it could offer. So that's the biggest difference, I would say.
Yeah. And I mean, the change has to start at the C-level, right? To develop the mindset, develop the culture in teams, develop the mindset in your employees, to don't lose someone, because a lot of people maybe are not so interested and so motivated to work with AI. What do you think? What's harder, building the AI system or changing the culture inside the company so people actually use it?
I would say both is very, very hard.
Yeah.
I mean, building the AI systems, there are so many obstacles. There are so many challenges we face every day, because the landscape around us is constantly changing. And that's a huge challenge to adapt to. Then the security part, which is really important for us. So there are a lot of attack angles and vectors you have to take care of. On the other side, if you want to culturally transform your company, I mean, you have to deal with people. So that is probably much harder than dealing with machines, because it's basically 1 or 0, but dealing with people is very different. And I think there are a lot of very sensitive topics you have to take care of when it comes to AI. I would say fear. I would say maybe anger. Then on the other side, enthusiasm and curiosity. And bringing this all together is hard work, is really hard. And just as you mentioned, it's really important that the management adapts to this change of, let's say, working and thinking, and really, dives deep into what they need to change in order to utilize everything that AI has to offer. Because it's not about AI does the thinking for you now.
Yeah.
That's going to be very bad for your company. It's really important that you keep to the style that makes you successful, to the strengths that you already have, you've built in years, and then augment those strengths with AI. And that's the hard part. This is like everything needs to come into place when you transform your company. And so I would even say that the transformation is harder.
Yeah.
Well, building is hard enough.
Yeah. But let's talk leverage. I mean, if a company actually masters its internal knowledge flow, what changes strategically?
I would say that the company gets much more efficient quickly, and the information you'll need to render your decision as a, let's say, as a C-level or executive becomes much better, much reliable, and so are your decisions, right? So these are the two most important things. And talking about efficiency, what we are doing is we are building knowledge digital twins, which means that you store basically your knowledge in a place that is steered by AI. And there's this constant pull from the company in regards to specific knowledge you own, right? And if you store it in a place where it can automatically been retrieved by your employees, there's a lot of time you have for other things, right? And everybody can be sure that they will get the information they need from you. And this is, I'm really talking about this standard type of knowledge you constantly give to employees as an executive, right? And so this is then always available. And I think that's a huge leap for companies to give their executives more time for other stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, also time saving, but also saving money, right? So that's two things what here together. Do you believe AI systems will eventually replace traditional management layers or just augment them?
That's hard to say, because that's pretty much bound also to regulations we need. So what is allowed, what is not, and then we'll see. So what we are working on is, let's say, the human-friendly perspective. So we need humans to interact with what we build, and this is essentially in the core of everything we believe, and also everything we build, because we don't think that AI is 100% accurate, and you basically need humans to steer AI in order that you get the best results you can. And the thing I would say is, if you want AI that is perfect in your daily work, be very careful what you're wishing for.
Mm. You mentioned the word regulation. Now we are living in Europe, and we have a lot of regulations. What's your personal opinion here when it comes to regulations? Do we need more regulations in AI, or how should we handle that? Because every time when we hear regulations, then it comes also together that we maybe lose momentum, then we are not stronger maybe than US or Asia or China, whatever. What do you think here?
I wouldn't, I mean, I use the word regulations myself, but you're totally right. Whenever one says regulations, then you think about, the laws in heating and stuff like that in Germany especially. But I'm thinking more about rules that make sense. So if I play football with my friends and then there are no rules, then you know what happens, right?
Exactly.
Total chaos and mayhem, and we will eventually fight each other at the end. So this is why I think there need to be very, very clear rules when it comes how to engage with AI, not only professionally, but also privately in terms of children, right?
Mm.
These are like two very, very sensitive areas: professional behavior, and then our children. And so I think the rules have to be there. So, for example, what is allowed and what is not. If you just think about musicians, right? So, is it allowed to just, taking Spotify, right? Is it allowed to upload AI generated music and then not show this source to the listeners? And to basically trick them into listening? I don't think so, that it should be. Also regarding photography, should it be allowed to wildly use AI on LinkedIn? Yeah, probably. But what about the sources? Should it be allowed to not name the source and pretend that this has been made by or has been created by a photographer? I don't think so. These are the rules I would love to see.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. Yeah. Mattias, you have founded multiple companies: Statista, Content Fleet, Onso AI, now Blockbrain, many with successful exits. What's the one thing you do differently today compared to your first startup?
Hopefully a lot. And I'm always trying to be smarter and learn from the mistakes I've made. And there are so many, and I'm not just saying this, but there are so many mistakes I've made. And so I'm constantly learning from this. I just try to be smarter with people, That is something that probably comes with experience. and not waste my time and energy into something that simply doesn't work. And that goes for business models and also relationships. That is something I've heard. And I think I value my time more because now I'm old or older, whatever you call it. And so my time also needs to be valued more. And that has changed a lot. So I would say when other people become more patient, I become more impatient, maybe.
Yeah. And after so many cycles, I mean, what still excites you enough to build again? I mean, you could also travel around the world, drink pina colada on the beach or whatever. So
yeah, that sounds very tempting. But I guess, I love to travel, to be honest, right? And I don't like pina colada, but I like a lot of other things. And I love, spending time with my family. But I don't like routines, probably.
okay.
And what I love most about building companies is the excitement of the next day. It doesn't feel like that when you're in it, but I think that really is the thing that keeps me motivated. So basically, I get up and I don't know what's going to happen a lot of times, right? Because what I'm doing is so, for me, so colorful. One day it could be this, the other day it could be that, just driven by the momentum that is in the company and by the people I'm working with. And also, it's about the people basically I'm working with. This is what also motivates me, right? It's I don't know how it is or how it was for you going to school, but for me it wasn't, oh cool, I could learn a lesson of math in school. It was about meeting people, meeting my friends and stuff like that. And I try to hold on to this also professionally. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
normally I like the people I work with
Yeah.
and I want to spend time with them. So
Yeah, great. Today we have something for you, maybe that still motivates you after the podcast. So we are now at the part for the exit or die rapid fire. That's a quick fire round, 5 questions from my side, and please 1 sentence answer from your side, please. Are you ready for that?
one sentence or one word?
1 sentence. 1 word would be maybe a little bit too hard.
Okay.
My first question is, what's the most overrated AI buzzword right now?
I would have to go for agentic because everybody uses it, but I don't believe that a lot of people really know, what it stands for.
Yeah. Question number 2 is, one thing companies misunderstand about knowledge management.
Context, which means a piece of knowledge could mean something very different for specific target groups. And so, and this is the reason or the opportunity for AI, because AI brings this piece of knowledge into the context it needs for the specific target group that asks for this information.
Yeah. The next one is a founder skill that compounds over time.
Paranoia, I would say. And that's the bad thing. The good thing is hopefully people skills through experience.
Yeah. The biggest red flag in a startup pitch today.
For me personally, it would be book smarts. So people that are book smart.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer street smart people.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And the last one, if you were not building AI or building Blockbrain, what would you build?
In a still technological position, I would definitely build computer games. And in my, let's say day-to-day position, I would build my garden because it looks like crap. I need to work.
Yeah.
I need to work on it.
Regarding games, what do you think about the gaming industry? Is it hard to build in the gaming industry, or?
Yeah, of course, it's hard, and I am really excited to see what AI is doing with games, computer games, because there are a lot of games where I become, I would say, rather quickly annoyed by the AI that is being used in those games, like tricking the AI into things that it's not supposed to do. And with the now very smart systems, seeing frontier models becoming parts of a game and becoming the narrative, maybe, or writing the narrative together with you, that could be very exciting. The only thing I hope that is not happening is that we see more games that are so just brutally, let's say, stolen from other games. The concept, the ideas, and stuff like that. And with AI and let's say vibe coding, I'm afraid there will be more games, that are just very hollow and are not fun to play at all. But on the good side, it could be a complete paradigm shift when it comes to utilizing AI in, let's say, telling stories. The player rights.
Yeah, Matthias, so far really great insights and a really awesome track record. If you could write one sentence on the dashboard of every CEO implementing AI, what would it say?
Especially in our case, I would say, don't just buy AI. First of all, understand the processes you want to fix with it.
Yeah.
And then do it the other way around. This is what we constantly do with clients, understanding the processes they want to have fixed, and then we help to fix them with AI, or not to fix them with AI, but they fix the processes, and after that we deploy AI to make those processes even better. That would be the correct way to phrase it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we are nearly on the end of the podcast, but don't want to leave without a message from you to the startup ecosystem. What would be your message to the founders outside there when they are building AI? So what would you tell them?
That's a very difficult question, because the answer to that might be constantly changing in terms of the landscape that is evolving around us right now. But today, I would tell them to stay as original as they can and use their brains to build their ideas and utilize AI just to scale the process in terms of become faster. But be very aware that hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people are now utilizing AI to come up with cool ideas to build a startup. So don't rely on that. Rely on what you've learned in your life, rely on what you've seen with your own eyes, and then start to build it, and then write down your concept. And after that's safe and secured, then go for AI. But not the other way around, because you will become one ideas of several millions of ideas that already have been, created by AI. That's the biggest problem. You need to be your best, or the best human you can be, to be successful as an AI startup entrepreneur.
One question on top of that. I mean, you mentioned again the landscape, that it is so changing so fast, right? In AI especially. What do you think? What will we see in the future when it comes to AI?
Very difficult question, because that constantly changes. I think in the nearer future, and that means in the next 3 months, we will see a leap of technology in terms of there will be new models that are probably groundbreaking. And after that, I'm really intrigued to see how we solve the challenge regarding energy. Because right now AI is consuming a lot of energy. I don't have the exact numbers in my head, but it's humongous. And if we don't overcome this challenge in the next, let's say, 3 years, something like that, then of course it's hard to gain more ground technologically. So I'm very intrigued how smart people are going to solve that. And I'm also happy that I'm not one of them.
Perfect. Mattias, thank you so much for all the great insights, telling us your story, your learnings. Unfortunately, that's it for this episode of Exit or Die. Again, big thanks to you, Mattias.
Thanks for having me.
You are a founder who has been building structured intelligence long before the market caught up. Yeah, and my last message is to all our listeners: if your company thinks AI is the answer, make sure your knowledge is not the problem. So thank you, guys, for listening, and see you soon.